Good morning, MacLaren. Today is Friday, April 24th, 2020. The weather today mostly sunny, high of 57. The sun rose at 6:09 a.m. and will set at 7:45 p.m. Okay, first graders, on this date, April 24th in the year 1479 BCE, before the Common Era, Thutmose III ascended to the throne of Egypt at the age of 2. He was a toddler. And because he was so little, power really effectively shifted to Hatshepsut. You will remember that she was the second historically confirmed female pharaoh and one of the most successful pharaohs in the history of Egypt. Also, April 24th, in the year 1183 BCE, that is the traditional date on which the Greeks entered the city of Troy using the Trojan horse. This brought about the fall of Troy and marked the end of the legendary Trojan War. So there was a librarian named Eratosthenes at the Library of Alexandria, the famous Library of Alexandria, and he was the one who said that it happened on April 24th, so we mark it on that date. Also on April 24th in the year 1895, a man named Joshua Slocum who became the first person to sail single-handedly all the way around the world. He set sail on April 24th, 1895 from Boston, Massachusetts, aboard a little boat called Spray. Slocum was an interesting character. He was a Canadian-born, later became an American sailor and adventurer and a writer. And a few years after that trip, he wrote a book called Sailing Alone Around the World. It became a huge bestseller. He became very famous. And then some years after that, he disappeared in 1909 while on another voyage on the Spray. He was never heard from again. Okay, next week, the fifth graders are going to read this kind of fascinating poem by Queen Elizabeth I of England that she supposedly carved into a window with a diamond when she was kind of a political prisoner. She was trapped in a palace and they wouldn't let her leave. And so that got me thinking about putting messages on windows. And we're in this sort of interesting time when people are putting all these signs out and writing on windows and writing on chalk and giving all these lovely messages to first responders and healthcare workers and just people in the neighborhood. And so I was thinking that it might be fun to learn how to make window paint. And you can do that quite easily. There's fancy window paint that you can buy, but you can make your own, and you do it by getting some chalk. You could use chalk of any color, and you're going to have to make it into chalk dust. So this will be my mortar and pestle. I'll use a Pyrex and a jar of fennel seed, and you crush up your chalk into chalk dust. And it takes a little bit of effort. You got to work at it. But you crush it up, and I will chatter away while I keep crushing, but you can see it breaks down into chunks at first, and then the more you work at it, the more you make it into a dust. And that's really what you want. You don't want to have big chunks because they're not going to mix very well and become paint. They're just going to be big chunks. And the other key ingredient is just ordinary dish soap. So you take your chalk dust, you take your dish soap, And what you want to do is have about twice as much dish soap as chalk dust. So I'm not actually going to measure this out. I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. But you're going to double your quantity of chalk dust. And then you just mix it up. And you can think of, you could write a poem, you could copy out a poem, or you could just send a message to the world. Emily Dickinson famously wrote, "This is my letter to the world that never wrote to me." You could send a message of encouragement to healthcare workers or to your neighbors, and you can do it all with your own handmade chalk paint. You definitely need to get permission from your folks before you start crushing up chalk and painting on your windows. Just a tip. Okay, my friends, take heart, keep tending to your victory garden, keep a pleasant schedule and a happy routine. Get outside, get fresh air, run around, be a helper to your family. Please don't wrangle with your siblings. If it is your birthday today, April 24th, happy birthday. And if you have a birthday this weekend, April 25th or April 26th, happy birthday to you. I hope you all have a day of kindness, friendliness, and peace. Folks, we're all in it together. I will see you next time.